Food is life.
If it's good, it's wonderful, and if it isn't, life is not very good.
The older you get, the more key to your health proper nutrition is.
Food should be a celebration for people.
And if there's no food, there's no life.
Food is life, and this is Alberta, where there is plenty of locally produced food for everyone, young and old. Well, maybe not for seniors. After working all of their lives to make Alberta what it is today, seniors often end their days in long-term care facilities. And if the government operates those facilities, especially in rural Alberta, the food is...
It's awful.
Absolutely dreadful.
One resident actually referred to it as dog food.
Terrible. In fact, I wouldn't eat it.
It's something that you can hardly stand to think about them eating this the rest of their days.
These are just some of the descriptions given to the provincial 21-day menu, which was implemented in December of 2009. The idea was to create one standard menu at 78 hospitals and nursing homes with fewer than 125 beds. We spoke to former employees whose jobs became redundant with the implementation of the menu. We also spoke with residents and people who have family members in long-term care. The reviews of the new menu are less than stellar.
The meat is not good at all. The meat is terrible.
What they call Oriental beef is something brown with brownish water drizzled over it.
It's not healthy food. There's no fresh vegetables.
The sauces are all the same.
You get roast pork, and it's all cut up in little pieces. Turkey and chicken's cut up in little pieces. We get chicken a lot.
You're not supposed to get the same meal, and you probably don't get the same meal, but basically it all tastes just about the same.
Oh, lots of repetition.
10 names for the different types of chicken, but it's all pretty well the same. Still chicken.
When it comes to food, everyone's taste is different and very subjective. So we brought in a food expert to give us an opinion. John Gilchrist is a food critic for CBC Radio and a food writer for the Calgary Herald.
I'm in Stettler at the Stettler Hospital and Care Center, where I'm about to meet Jim Elwood and sample some of the food that people eat every day.
Hidden cameras were used to capture John's first experience with the 21-day menu.
Are you Jim, by the way?
I am.
Oh, sorry, Jim. I'm John. How you doing?
Okay, good.
Nice to meet you.
They headed for the dining room for John's first meal.
I wanted to try the potatoes. Oh my. Wow. I am appalled at the food we had at the Stettler Care Facility. As low as my expectations were, they managed to somehow exceed them in the quality of the food. I didn't think that some of that food that those people were served even existed anymore. There's a certain inedibility to the textures. Again, the gravy is just glue. The potatoes are obscene. This reminded me of the TV dinners of the early 60s with the watery potatoes and the glossy gravy that came from no place natural, and the food and the meats that really have no texture or taste. I've eaten a lot of bad food in a lot of dodgy situations. This is some of the worst food I've had in years. Absolutely dreadful.
The theory of the 21-day menu is to standardize the food supply. Food is bought in bulk and shipped in from other provinces and the U.S. The food is said to be fresh, not frozen, which means it's heavy with preservatives. It leaves many people questioning the nutritional value.
You don't know what's in there, and certainly nobody that's eating it knows.
You're boiling stuff, so you're taking the vitamins and the minerals out of it. You're pre-packaging roast beef for 70 days. How can there be any nutrition left in that?
There is very little that is prepared on site. It's all frozen and then reconstituted.
Susan Slade speaks for the Alberta Union of Provincial Employees, which represents many of the staff at AHS facilities.
The members of Local 41 have seen an increase in urinary tract infections. They've seen an increase of wounds not healing as fast, and in general, people not coming to eat meals.
the more you learn about it, the more you realize that it's just not satisfactory.
That is soup, and
There's
is
salad. And what's this? Just a bun?
That's a dinner roll.
Oh, a dinner roll. Okay.
Yeah, I have it all wrapped.
And this?
Little bits of chicken in there, but it kind of looks like mushroom soup.
Full of preservatives and salt.
When you're trying to monitor fat and or salt in a week, which was our dietitian's focus and became my focus too, was to make sure that we're following a certain set of guidelines that are helping people to get healthier, not sicker.
When I planned the menus at the Willow Creek, I would always be paying attention to what the current information was about nutrition.
Nutrition is an extremely important consideration for seniors' health, according to Christine Haydick, a geriatric nutritionist.
If you have fresh food, you get the most nutrients. You get the biggest bang for your buck. That means that they can ward off illnesses, seasonal colds, flus, heart disease, certain cancers, osteoporosis. Having the fresh food helps to keep those things away.
The difference in the food from 3 or 4 years ago to now is it's not even comparable. We had homemade food. We had cooks that cooked food. They didn't just open a bag and put it in a steam tray.
Our whole lives really evolve around food. That's how we socialize, is we get together for a meal.
One of the greatest enjoyments in life is a good, tasty, healthy, colorful meal.
We had wonderful food in the hospital, and the patients loved it. They were waiting in line at mealtime to go into the dining room. You could smell it all over. Now you smell nothing.
There's nothing there that actually gives off an aroma that makes you go, oh, I smell that. Oh, that makes me want to come in and sit down and eat.
It's 12 o'clock. You should be wringing your fingers looking forward to what you're eating, not dreading it.
I don't see the lineups at the chain across the dining room anymore.
This, they speculated, was probably pork.
It looks like roasted pork loin sliced or mashed potatoes and carrots, but there's about as much loving care in putting it together as burying a dead cat.
In Claire's home, some seniors have meals delivered to their homes. These meals are also part of the 21-day menu plan. John Gilchrist had the opportunity to try one.
The pork cutlet, which is very dense. Oh my gosh. That is not pleasant at all. It has a very sawdusty texture. It has, it's overcooked, way overcooked, but there's something wrong with the texture of it. The texture of it's just, it's dense. It doesn't taste like any kind of decent pork I've ever had, and I grew up on a pig farm. This is nasty. Oh.
9 months after the implementation of the new 21-day menu in August of 2010, consultants hired by Alberta Health Services visited 26 of the facilities to observe the meal service, interview residents, and conduct focus groups at 12 of the sites. According to the review, residents were mostly satisfied with the meals.
It's always a challenge to do a survey in a long-term care facility.
I would say there's a good half of them that have Alzheimer's or dementia of some kind, you know.
And so would not be able to understand the question.
They really don't even know what they had for breakfast, let alone how good it was. So by doing a survey that way, yes, you're going to get responses of, yes, my food was good, or something like that, because they don't really remember what they actually ate.
And sometimes they're scared to speak out about it too, you know, because they think that if they say too much, they'll come down a little bit worse on them, you know, or something like that.
I think it's very disrespectful. The politicians have forgotten the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you.
It goes back down to respect. Whether they remember that they ate eggs that were in a bag or a fresh egg is not really the point.
I think it's taking advantage of them.
Is that a biscuit? Kind of brown.
It's a potato, I think.
Okay.
potatoes that they were using when I left were they're grown in Idaho, shipped to El Paso, processed, and shipped back to Calgary. Now, as a farmer who's supported the government all these years, I wonder how many of them would be really happy to hear that the products that these farmers and ranchers around here grow are not utilized in a multi-million-dollar food outlet like the Alberta Health Services.
Since the implementation of the 21-day menu, people have written numerous letters and many newspaper articles, but it all seems to fall on deaf ears. Now, more than 2 years have passed, and it appears to many that nobody is listening. We invited Alberta Health Services to respond to the concerns raised by the people we interviewed. However, our invitation was declined.
There just doesn't seem to be any response. It's like they just don't care. They're going to do it anyway.
It's like giving the waitress a blast in a restaurant. You know, I mean, you're complaining to the wrong person, but you can't get to the right person.
Somebody up there is giving orders, and nobody has any choice.
I can't understand why they would take a good thing that we had and bring it to the level it is now.
They claim that they're saving money using this food. If they're throwing out half of it, how are they saving any money?
But Alberta Health Services does not appear to be saving money. This AHS report documents food costs from 19 facilities. In the 2 years since the new menu was implemented, nutrition and food services costs actually increased over 6%.
And the staff are really good, and I feel sorry for them because they've just lost that pride, and it's just gained frustration is just what's happened.
Staff morale has been negatively affected, according to the consultant's report. They feel disillusioned because they are not empowered to make needed changes.
It's a big operation to try and convince Alberta Health Services that they made the wrong decisions.
These people don't have much in life. Let them enjoy some decent food.
We need to be active in writing our MLAs and speaking with Alberta Health Services CEOs and telling them this isn't acceptable.
The doctor promised me, I'm 75, and the doctor promised me I'd live till 85 at least. And so I've got another 10 years of looking at this kind of a food, you know, and it's kind of boring.
I sat there thinking, good Lord, please don't let this ever happen to me, that I have to eat this stuff.
It's shameful. The 21-day menu is absolutely shameful.
I just would challenge the politicians to eat that 3-week menu for the one term, 3 weeks. But these people have to eat it for the rest of their lives, sometimes 5, 10 years, 3 times a day.
Think about the people you're feeding and what they've done for our province, and stop feeding them this crap. If I was rating this as a restaurant on my 0 to 10 scale, I don't know if this would even make a 0. I mean, it is that poor. You cannot put food this poor quality in front of people, period.